us like what to expect within the name of the Tsar?
Yeah. So in the name of the Tsar is moving our battles. We were in the Western Front for most of the game, so we're moving everyone over to the Eastern Front, the biggest front of World War I. And we're introducing the Russian army. With that comes four vehicles. We're going to be bringing an armored truck and the biggest bomber in Battlefield 1 called the NEWLMG.
It has 4 engines, it looks like.
It's huge. This thing's giant, and it packs a punch with all the bombs. We also are bringing in a Y-Lighter landing craft, and this is a little boat to transport troops. And also, we're updating the cavalry unit. We're bringing a new cavalry unit. We've enhanced it to introduce the Hussar, and these guys carry around a lance, and they run around very quick attacks, and you can impale your enemies and drag them off the battlefield. It's nuts.
That was definitely in the trailer.
Yeah.
Memorable moment. Were there any kind of like major things with the base game that you wanted to maybe change or supplement with in the name of the Tsar that really worked well in terms of like overarching systems or how the game just functioned as a whole? Is there anything you really wanted to address?
So of course we're always looking at ways to enhance the game, make it better. We're tweaking balance, making sure, listening to our community about what they want and where they feel like there might be some balance issues. But for in the name of the Tsar, we are updating 2 big core areas. Progression. This is something our players really are passionate about, and we're doing it in 2 big ways. The first one is we're introducing all new assignments, and this is going to help the players have things to go after that are going to help kind of advance their career. And as you do so, we're going to also be bringing in what we're calling specializations. And these specializations are going to help you tailor your class to your play style. And it's something you haven't seen in Battlefield yet, and we're super excited to bring that.
Awesome. Can you go more into specializations at all?
Unfortunately, I can't. Yeah, I will have a lot more to share in the coming months.
Okay, but in terms of the 6 new maps and like just you have the new Behemoth, which was the train with the snowplow on the front that we saw in the trailer when EA announced it at the press conference. You also have just like a whole new army, like presumably new weapons and everything.
Yes.
How do you even begin to tackle something this big with like an expansion of the game?
You know, it takes a lot of work, and it's a team effort, really. I mean, for us to really be able to execute on this. So our historian, they help us, and we have some people on the team that are experts of weapons, experts of vehicles, and so we do a deep dive study on everything around this particular part of the war, around Russia, around their involvement, and then we start laying out what can we bring to the game. One of the great things also we ended up coming across was the Women's Battalion of Death. This is an untold story that I didn't know about until we started really diving in. And these women were both capable and courageous. They would charge the front lines, often when the rest of the army wouldn't come and support them. And they would take ground. So we had to have them in the game. So we brought them in the game as the the scout class in the Russian army.
Yeah, we've seen the Russian front of like World War II in several like Call of Duty shooters. Like Call of Duty 2 had like Stalingrad and whatnot, but this is probably the first time that we're seeing the Russian front of World War I in a game.
Yes.
What's that like, kind of setting the precedent?
You know, it's interesting as we look at the world and what the landscape was at that time. You have to look at 1914 to 1918 and what were the landscapes, and we had to pull a lot of reference materials down, and there's actually quite a few photos around that time, and it's a lot of history, a lot of written material, and so we really had to take some time to study about what does this world look like. So when we go to Lupkow Pass, the map that we're showing at EA Play, we have this is our mountainous ravines, and this is a really interesting location. It's the Carpathian Mountains, and there was a crossing in there that was a trading route, and it was really critical to the war. If you controlled that trading route, you can control how you supply your troops. So it was really important. The Austro-Hungarians had the hold, and the Russians were trying to take it. And that's the beginning of one of our operations that we're bringing, called Brusilov Offensive.
Yeah, every time you're looking back at like historical battles or wars that extended into Russia, like one of the main enemies for the invaders is the winter.
Yeah.
I imagine the weather must be playing into, like, especially with the dynamic weather that Battlefield 1 is kind of come to be known for. I imagine we'll be seeing blizzards or something.
You absolutely will. Okay. So we have the daylight, of course, that goes into snow. We're going to have blizzards. But unlike what you might have seen in some other maps where sometimes like storms would come and they might stay for a long time, the blizzards are going to come and go, and we'll see if they but they will hinder your visibility. they are going to affect you and how your strategy of how you're going to play the map. And you can check it out right now at EA Play up through the end of today, and we'll have a lot more to share with that in the coming months.
That's actually pretty interesting how you mentioned the weather being shorter opposed to longer, because I know that like in some of the desert maps, the longer the storm, you can make that preparation. Okay, I'm going to shift to a a shotgun, and stick with it. But it sounds like could you speak on maybe like how long are these changes in weather? Because it just seems to be in the case of I'm just going to play a little differently for what, maybe a few minutes, and then get back into like.
Yeah, I mean, you mean as far as changing your loadout? You know, that's a tough one because weather it's dynamic. It's going to happen on the fly, and it's not something that we've programmed necessarily. Like, oh, 15 minutes of this, and then it's going. So it's going to just kind of occur. Yeah. And but we're programming it to be something that comes and goes and ebbs and flows through the match. But yeah, so you will have to change some of your tactics. But I think it's going to be how you